Welcome to the Weird Sacred, the corner of the internet where we talk about healing, creativity, nervous systems, spirituality, business, motherhood, identity, overstimulation, human behavior, and all the weird, complicated parts of being alive without pretending we have everything figured out. My name is Francesca. I am the mindful maker behind soaps, candles, and dots. Observer of people, a semi-feral forest human with emotional support rollers, strong opinions about performative wellness, and the tendency to make inappropriate jokes at emotionally significant moments. So, if you came here looking for polished enlightenment, that's probably not gonna happen today. And honestly, that's kind of the point. Today, I want to talk about the pressure to heal correctly, because somewhere along the way, healing became aesthetic. It became another thing to optimize, another thing to perform, another thing to turn into a personality. And I think a lot of people are exhausted, not because they're failing, but because they are trying so hard to do everything right that they stop listening to themselves. I know I did. Not anymore, but I definitely used to. So I literally used to trust everybody before my own. The books, the podcast, advice, strategies, trends, people online who sounds very spiritually hydrated and really emotionally evolved. Meanwhile, my intuition was here sitting like, hello, I also live here, right? So I literally put baby in the corner for a while, just for a while. It's better now. She's dancing. I thought healing meant becoming a better version of myself, being more disciplined, more aware, more regulated, more positive, more consistent, more healed. And listen, awareness is beautiful. Discipline can absolutely be supportive, but I got up to a point where I wasn't even present in half of the things I was doing because I was too busy trying to do them correctly. And that's not healing, that's performance. And I think a lot of people are quietly performing wellness while their nervous systems are hanging by the thread. Something else I realize is that healing is not linear, it's layered. Not because you keep repeating the same exact lesson forever. If you keep repeating the same exact patterns without awareness, that's something else entirely. That's another situation. What I mean is that life keeps happening and you grow, and as you grow, your perspective expands. You start seeing things you could not see before. Situations reveal deeper truths. Relationships reveal deeper truths. Motherhood reveals deeper truths. And business will humble you real quick, because being a business owner is shadow work in action. Everything you have ever avoided eventually will show up through your business, and it will smack you directly in the face. Your perfectionism, your fear of visibility, your people pleasing, your fear of rejection, your fear of being misunderstood, all of it come up eventually. And the more honest you become with yourself, the more clearly you start seeing what is actually underneath your reactions, underneath your fears, underneath your exhaustion. For example, I used to be extremely jealous in relationships. Let's level here. Not because I was crazy or toxic or broken, but because deep down I genuinely did not feel like I was enough. So, of course, everything around me felt threatening, right? Now, I can look at a beautiful woman and say, wow, she's beautiful. And I will go tell them most of the time without even spiraling into insecurity. Not because I became some perfectly healed goddess floating through the life untouched by emotion, right? But because I understand now that someone else existing beautifully does not threaten my worth. My work do not depend on what is happening around me. And that changed everything. And honestly, healing for me these days looks a lot less aesthetic and a lot more practical. Sometimes looks like turning everything off at 6 or 7 p.m. because my nervous system is fried. Sometimes looks like putting my headphones and, rolling my rollers around at the parks because I am overstimulated with too much happening around and my children suddenly all need something at the same point. I love them deeply, but sometimes I just need 5 minutes where nobody says nothing or touch me. And sometimes healing looks like sitting in my car, eating my hidden chocolate in the garage because it's the only place quiet available. And sometimes healing looks like admitting I actually need to create something. And that one hit me hard recently. And this is not something I have said to a lot of people. I got so immersed in my responsibilities in work, in motherhood, in their survival, in showing up for everyone else that I got disconnected from my creativity almost completely. And I didn't even realize how much I missed it until writing found me again. And I used to write constantly when I was younger, and somewhere through adulthood and responsibilities and survival, I stopped. Then one day, while trying to figure out what my soul was craving, I wrote a song accidentally. And I remember showing it to my husband, and he asked me, what do you want to do with this, right? What is the intention behind this? What's the purpose? What is happening here? And I told him, I honestly don't know. And I explained him I was doing some soul research and this happened. And then he said, well, we can find someone to sing it. And the second he said that, something inside me immediately went no. And it's not because I think I am an incredible singer. Actually, I don't think I am, but I'm literally taking lessons right now and trying not to sound like someone is stabbing me all the time. But because I realized this was not about perfection, it was more about expression. It was about finally allowing myself, a part of me, to exist again out of the responsibilities. And honestly, I think a lot of people are starving creatively right now and calling it burnout. Not because they need another productive system, but because they need somewhere for themselves to exist again. So, no, I don't think healing is about becoming impressive anymore. I think it's about becoming honest enough to stop abandoning yourself. I think it's learning what actually supports you instead of forcing yourself into someone else's formula. Some people need grounding outside, barefoot, walking in the grass. Some people need silence. Some people need movement. Some people need a cup of tea. Some people need music or painting or drawing. Some people need a really good cry. And some people need headphones and a moment where nobody talks to them. And maybe that's the point. Maybe healing was never supposed to disconnect us further from ourselves by forcing everybody into the same formula. Maybe it was always supposed to bring us back to our inner knowing, to bring us back home. I still burn incense almost every day. I still light candles. I still observe myself constantly. And I still question myself honestly, but not from punishment, not from judgment, but from curiosity, from awareness, from wanting to understand myself instead of controlling myself. And these days, I refuse misalignment more than almost anything. I refuse misalignment in business. I refuse misalignment in relationships. all of them. I refuse misalignments in expectations. And I refuse misalignment in the way I show up in the world. I spent years trying to sound polished, correct, professional, digestible. But I am the same person everywhere you meet me, at home, at the market, online, with my family, with strangers. Yeah, I laugh loudly. I make silly jokes at the worst possible moments. And sometimes I say mildly inappropriate things before realizing maybe that should have stayed in my head. I can talk about nervous system and candles and creativity and overstimulations and motherhood and business and music all in the same conversation because that's who I am. And I am spiritual, but I'm grounded and I can talk about intuition and then immediately complain about the hate in the market while eating a snack behind my booth while listening Boston. It's crazy, right? But that's who I am. None of this is a performance. It's just me. And honestly, that's the version of myself I trust the most right now. So thank you so much for being here with me today. Go, drink water, take a nap, put your headphones on, light some crooked candle, sit outside for a while, cry if you need it, laugh loudly, make art, and say something honestly. And maybe ask yourself what actually supports me. Not what looks good online, not what sounds evolved, not what everybody else is doing. You. What supports you? And honestly, I think that is weirdly sacred. I love you guys. I'll see you in the next one.